Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to another incredible video. I have an amazing guest. Her name is Tracy Kiss. Tracy is into fitness, mindfulness. She has like 7,000 or 700,000, sorry, followers on Instagram. So you should definitely go follow her. And it's very interesting. So after I released the video about me ingesting my own semen and the semen of another guy as well. It's a very popular video, but a lot of people are talking about this video. I was actually watching a live stream by this guy known as Vegan Gains. I don't know if you know who Vegan Gains is.
Yeah.
Really? No way. And he actually stumbled across your videos. I think like a fan sent him your videos or something like that.
Okay.
And I was like, wow. So this person knows the incredible benefits of this divine substance well before I did. So I saw that you had videos about you ingesting semen for health benefits and even like rubbing it on your body for health benefits. And that was so awesome. I'm like, wow, I'm not the only one that has.
Yes, thank goodness.
I know, right? Like I'm not the only one. So how did you get into this, and how did you realize the benefits of this awesome substance? And then, you know, I'd like to refute some of the I'd like to refute some of the claims. There's been some like false assumptions about some science and stuff like that we'll get into, but I'd love to hear your story about how you got into it.
Yeah, no, of course. So I'm like literally intolerant of everything in life. I have food intolerances. I have skin conditions. I was born with rosacea, which is a sensitive skin. It's very hot and red. So it means that going to a beauty salon or supermarkets or where you would buy products, a lot of the things that were within them, the ingredients, caused a reaction to my skin. So it would leave me tingling, more red, burning sensations. So I looked for ulterior ingredients that I could use. You know, raised in England, my grandmother always said, if you get stung by a stinging nettle, use a dock leaf, you rub it on it, it has natural qualities that soothes the skin. So very much looking outside of pharmaceuticals for a response to a skin complaint. I was actually speaking to a lady after I had a facial peel, and she said to me, she was a skin specialist, that says, I know this is really strange, have you tried semen? And I thought, like, you know, normally you kind of duck out the way and you don't want to get it in your eyes in a relationship. But then I thought, well, I've never actually deliberately tried to put it on my face. So, you know, she said there's no side effects unless you are allergic to it, which is quite rare, but does happen sometimes. So give it a go. And if it helps, it helps. Otherwise, you could try egg whites. So being vegan, you know, I didn't want to put an egg on my face, but that does draw some of the heat out of the skin. So I tried semen. It was amazing. I told people and they thought I was crazy. But I mean, it just worked so beautifully for me. So why not tell your friends and family that you found something that is free and natural and healthy and in plentiful supply?
Yeah, that's awesome. I've noticed when I actually started ingesting it, the benefits were so powerful. I have yet to actually try it on my face because of like, I'm like, whoa, I'm getting so many benefits from ingesting. I know I'll probably, I need to get some more external semen, right? So I have an abundance because mine to me is like so sacred. I must ingest it because of the energy that I get, right? Normally guys, you know, after they ejaculate, they'll go into what's called like a refractory period where they feel like bleh, you know, and I noticed that when I actually ingest it, that dip in energy is just not there, and I feel great. And I have some interesting theories behind it. One thing that's really cool that I looked into, which I'm sure no one on here really knows, but so, you know, the Bible is a collection of like ancient scriptures written by different people, right? Now, there are a lot of ancient scriptures that have been written that haven't been included in the Bible because the content of those scriptures didn't fit the agenda of the men at the time who wanted to convey the certain message, right? And so there's this interesting group known as the Borabites, and they have a lot of different scriptures about Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So you can look up the Borabites, and there's this scripture called the Greater Questions of Mary. And in that scripture, Jesus was said to ejaculate and then ingest his semen with Mary Magdalene. And
no way.
Yes, and then he said, thus we must do, so we live, right? And so obviously, you can look up the Borabites, the Greater Questions of Mary. And so obviously, and again, you know, when you're looking at these ancient texts about what's true, what's not, who knows, but it was talking about the health benefits of semen that long ago. And so it must be something to it. I mean, people were at least thinking about it back then, but have you noticed any of the benefits of like ingesting it as well?
Oh, massively, massively. So I'm such an upbeat person. I'm like bouncing around, always really happy. And people always say to me, like, why are you so happy? I didn't realize that, you know, I would just naturally consume semen in a relationship in a loving manner. You know, so it's just something most couples probably do. It's personal preference, you know, if you spit or swallow. So I didn't realize that I was doing anything different, that it was even affecting me in a positive way, until I saw studies that actually said in relationships, even in pregnancy, women who have exposure to semen rather than using a condom have an elevated mood. So it's that endorphin that it releases that reduces stress and reduces depression, and it's just so good for your immune system. And, you know, it's something like always crossing the road out to superstition. You know, does it keep you safe, or are you doing it because you're scared of danger? If you hadn't done it, would you have behaved the same way? Would you have felt the same way? I didn't realize that it was making such a big impact until I told people, and they say, well, you know, I don't do that. And a few of my friends have actually now said that given the option to spit or swallow, they do swallow, and they feel so much better for it. So, you know, it's there, just talk about it. And when you know, you can reap the rewards of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's a study, I'll probably pop it up here on the screen, but it's a study where, I mean, I think it was like some college females that were exposed to semen, they were less depressed, right? And they actually found components of the semen like in their bloodstream, right? So it's not just like some placebo effect. There were actually some components that actually got absorbed in the bloodstream. And so there's this, I guess there's this new myth out here. There's been a lot of response videos to me coming out about doing this. And
is that positive or negative?
it's all, I think it's wonderfully positive. I love it. The more people that talk about it, the better. But unfortunately, you know, it goes against people's paradigm, right? And, you know, they want to be doing things right. And so they automatically kind of, you know, they'll cherry pick some research or come up with some ideas that fits their paradigm, right? They don't even want to think that this could be a possibility because they don't want to do that. A lot of it's probably some like homophobia, you know, like deep-rooted homophobia, like sadly, like stuff like that, where, you know, I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. You know, think about this, like if there is some benefits, just potentially, like
why would you not want them?
Yeah, exactly. Like what would it hurt? Even if you think it's gross, which if you're healthy, it actually should taste just fine, right?
Yeah.
But you could just put it in a smoothie or something like that and not even taste it.
That's what I do as well. Yeah. If it's not tasting the best, just put it in a smoothie.
Exactly. There's really no rational reason to be wasting it, right? If people really examine their minds, it's probably some deep-rooted fear that they just haven't examined, right? But anyway, there's this myth that it's not like the components of semen aren't bioavailable, essentially, right? Which means that like people are saying that if you ingest it, you're not going to get any of the benefits because it's not going to be absorbed in your body.
Right.
I'll pop up some studies here. Here are the two things that I really think are the real benefit, like the two components that are really beneficial. That's one, nerve growth factor. So they found nerve growth factor in semen, and also there's a compound called spermidine. Okay, so nerve growth factor, I'll pop up a study here. It's shown to be orally bioavailable in mice, right? So they gave mice nerve growth factor orally, had an effect. Nerve growth factor, neuroregenerative, right? So it essentially, you know, grows new nerves in the brain, makes new neural connections, going to make your brain sharper, going to relieve brain fog, right? Spermidine is known for autophagy. So it's like the same benefits that you get from like fasting, right? It increases autophagy, which is great. We know that this is anti-cancer, right? We know that autophagy is essentially, it's the killing off of old cells and regeneration of new cells. So it's positive for like every aspect of the body.
Every part of life. Yeah. Why would you avoid that?
Right. And obviously, so spermidine, you know, the name comes from sperm. So obviously there is spermidine in sperm. That's where the name comes from. And there are studies that show that it is orally bioavailable in humans. There's a dementia study, right? So essentially they gave spermidine orally to older patients with dementia, and it improved
Oh my
their
goodness.
mental functioning, right?
Yeah.
So spermidine as well is neuroregenerative, right? So it protects from neurodegenerative diseases, right? And they've also done studies with spermidine on animals and shown that by giving them spermidine, they can live up to 25% longer, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
That is insane.
yeah,
That is
it's incredible, right? So, I mean, think about this. With this knowledge, it's like, how could you not be ingesting
yeah.
it? It's just incredible.
Absolutely. But you think when you're raised as well, like, I don't know if your family did it to you, but certainly to me when I was younger, they would say, eat all your vegetables. And you say, oh, it tastes disgusting. I don't want to eat Brussels sprouts, you know. And they say, but it's so good for you, just eat it. And as adults, you know, I've been vegan for so many years. My friends say that when they try vegan food, some of it isn't to their liking. And they say, you know, I'm not used to vegetables. I know it's good for me, so I'm going to eat it. So they do, you know, you make that conscious decision to say, this is what I can benefit from it. So why not have it? And I think in a relationship or outside of a relationship, why, if you know something is good for you, why don't you then accept it? You know, and I think the taboo of society is that anything to do with bodily fluids is embarrassing, is wrong, and is a direct judgment on yourself as a person. It's not, you know, if they sold it in a shop and you could purchase that, you look at all the ingredients in the beauty products, you know, they're using animal fats and blood and things. Why not say this is just a natural ingredient that hasn't come from anywhere else? You know, you're not harming animals, you're not loading it with chemicals. Literally, it's free and available to you. And it's good for you. Like it just blows my mind that people would be offended by that.
Yeah, me too. No, it's so funny you brought that up because I thought of that too. It's like people, it's like people are saying, you know, some people are saying, oh, I don't even care if it does have spermidine. Like, I don't care if it makes animals live 25% longer. I would die before I ever ingested that gross stuff. I'm like
Wow.
what? Like to me, it's so silly. It literally seems like these people, like to me, they're portraying themselves as these little kids who only eat their vegetables. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's seriously. Yeah, I know. That's really, that's what it seems like to me.
But how much junk food people eat, how much alcohol they consume, or smoking, you know it is damaging your body. You might enjoy it, but you know that you could be putting on weight, blocking your arteries, hardening your lungs. You know that it's not good, but you enjoy, you know. Whereas I don't think you can't enjoy semen. Because I mean the factor of producing it is fun and nice. The health benefits of it is fun and nice. You know, there's so many positives that it's hard to see why people avoid it, really, in my opinion. And if it's down to flavor and taste, put it in a smoothie. You don't have to taste it, but you've got all of those benefits without any side effects.
Yeah, exactly. It all comes down to this societal conditioning, you know. Once you break free of that, there's so many of these incredible healing options out there, but we've just been programmed, especially like in the Western world, that the only way to get better is like, you know,
go to a doctor and buy pills.
Go to a doc, exactly. When in reality, you know, doctors are great when it comes to like life-saving techniques, but when it comes to just a normal little health condition, getting medication from a doctor is just kind of a band-aid approach, and it's not fixing the root issue. These holistic approaches are so much better, and yes, semen is definitely one of them. So I am so glad that I got onto it. My mind is so much sharper and clearer now. I'm able to function much better. I mean, it's like the difference is like you don't notice how much brain fog you actually have until it's gone.
You remove it. Yeah,
exactly. But there's really, I mean, ingesting semen is better than like any drug, any like brain drug, you know, that a doctor is going to give you. It has these neuroregenerative substances that are just so powerful. So, I mean, it really just, it just comes down to, first of all, ignorance. I mean, people don't really think that it's a thing. They're like, oh, why aren't people doing it? You know, why isn't this well known? Well, it's because our societal conditioning is so hardcore drilled into us that people are caught in their own paradigm. But I mean, people do it in like other cultures and ancient, like I showed in the board, like, it has been done before, right? You know what I mean? So it just comes down to ignorance and like our societal conditioning. And that's hopefully with these videos that I'm making, we can kind of break through, because I mean, if everyone started doing it, the world would be a happier place. You know what I mean?
Definitely the difference it makes. But I mean, I think a lot of it is down to money. You know, people can't sell it. because it's something that is so natural, it's available everywhere. It's like charging people to buy a bottle of water when it's free from the tap. You know, you can say that spring water is better for you, but if you don't have access to it, you have to pay for it. And again, with semen, you know, all the health benefits, they would rather mass produce in a factory lots of different pills and potions that most of them do have side effects. You go to a doctor to treat one problem that you have, you read the medication and it says you will get headaches, you'll get high blood pressure, you might be dizzy, don't drive or operate machinery. And all you're doing is chasing after side effects. Whereas semen as a preventative measure to boost the immune system means that you don't have to get ill and then take something to fix something else and fix something else. You're actually making your body as strong and healthy as it can be, and avoiding ever becoming ill. You know, I don't remember the last time I had a cold. We definitely haven't been touched by COVID, which is a worldwide pandemic that you can't avoid. But, you know, just having a strong immune system is everything you need in life. It's priceless.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's the same thing. One thing that I've gotten into recently is like urine therapy, actually. And I said the same thing in the video about it. It's like, there's not a lot of science on it because the pharmaceutical companies can't monetize it. Because it's this natural thing that we're producing. A lot of people, you know, it was funny. I posted that video on April Fool's. A lot of people thought it was an April Fool's joke, but no, like I'm into urine therapy too. The cool thing is that really helps the gut biome, right? Which also makes the components of semen even more, like you absorb it even more. Like the healthier your gut is, the more you absorb nutrients. That's the other thing about bioavailability. It's like bioavailability is completely relative to the like digestibility like of your gut, right?
Yes, and how successful it is in the food you eat, because you waste so much by not being able to absorb it.
Yeah, exactly. So you give a bioavailable substance to one person who has a horrible gut biome, they're not going to absorb it at all. Like vice versa, you give something that to most people isn't bioavailable. You give that to someone with a very, very, very healthy gut, and all of a sudden they absorb all the nutrients.
All of it.
Yeah. So these people that are making these response videos are looking at this with a very reductionist approach. They're not taking all these things into account, right? And so, but yeah, so it's really good to have someone on here who does it
does the same and realizes because it almost feels like when you tell people, you know, as our grandparents would say, you know, oh, you have a cough, have some honey, you know, they would just give natural remedies to things. They would never say go to a doctor. They would, you know, because it wasn't really available for past generations in the way that it is today. And now as soon as anyone sneezes, you go to a doctor and they give you a load of pills and everything. But I mean, like when you then spoke about it as a man, you know, I don't know your sexuality, but do you feel that that was then questioned? Something you're doing for health brings in your personal life, and people judge you because of it. Like, did you feel unfairly judged, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the judging doesn't get to me at all. I actually like welcome all judgments. Like people can look at me however they want to, you know, but absolutely immediately people started assuming that I was gay, right? In fact, I even talked about how like I wasn't to show that we were just doing it for the actual like health benefits, you know what I mean? But yeah, of course, no, immediately. That's why I say that one of the main reasons why people probably don't do this is from this deep-rooted homophobia that they're not actually aware of, right? Because immediately everyone assumed that I was gay, which I'm not. I wish, like I've said this many times, I wish that I was bisexual like so much. Because,
imagine how much you'd have access to.
Exactly, I know, right? It'd be incredible, you know. I know, especially with this newfound health benefits, I would love to want to drink this stuff straight from the source, but like unfortunately, I just don't, right? But that just kind of shows where people's minds are at. Is that as soon as you talk about this stuff, they automatically refer it to like your sexuality, right? Which is not necessarily the case. And so that just goes to show where people's minds are at. But no, it's all good. Like I don't care if people think that I'm gay, straight, whatever, crazy, you know, like it's all just kind of comical for me because I'm just on cloud nine, like with all these benefits of the semen. Like my mind is so clear.
Living proof of it.
Yeah, exactly. So no, like I'm totally good. People can think whatever they want.
But you wouldn't walk into a fast food restaurant and ask for a burger and say, is it a man or a woman cow? Would you? You wouldn't say, I'm only going to eat the women. You know, it's so bizarre. And when you think of the flip side of that, so for women, if you were to say, have you been exposed or tasted your own fluids? You know, people probably say, no, of course not. That's disgusting. Women don't do that. But in a relationship, the chances are that you have performed some kind of act where it then goes back to your mouth, and you will know what you taste like, whether you realize that you've tasted yourself. And likewise with men, you know, if they've performed a certain act in a mouth and then your girlfriend kisses you, you probably have tasted it without, you know, instantly thinking, this is me consuming my own semen. But it's not new, it's not different. You know, people criticize me for being a mum, for consuming semen, and I thought, but you wouldn't be here if your parents didn't have an involvement with semen. So it's almost like they treat it as something to be ashamed of. But as you say, it's the source of life. It's you know, nature's multivitamin, and it's creation in a teaspoon almost. If you think, why waste that?
Yeah, it's so powerful. That's why there are all these like tantric practices just raving about the benefits, and that's why they, you know, they'll refrain from like ejaculating too much, because they know that
it's so precious.
Yeah, they know it's so precious, right? So they don't want to waste it. But what they didn't realize that you could just kind of find a work way around it and have the best of both worlds by just like reconsuming it, right? And so that's kind of how, you know, I did like something like 70 days. I actually did a video on it, like 70 days of semen retention, right? Where I didn't ejaculate for like 70 days. I did that. It's on my other channel, like Connor Murphy Talks. But, and I felt so incredible. I'm like, dang, like, and then I was like I went through this process of, but like, there's got to be like a workaround. Like I want to ejaculate again, but I feel so good, I'm not going to. And then I'm like, boom.
Oh, wow.
And then like, boom, it hit me. And I'm like, oh, what if I try ingesting it? And then I'm like, oh, and then it worked. And perfect.
You're not losing it from your body then.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I would have thought, like, I know in myself, if I haven't consumed semen, I do start to feel more stressed and more irritable. So it's almost like you say, it gives you energy. I know some guys that have always said, like, you know, I fall asleep straight after I ejaculate. Whereas I'm like, oh my God, I can go again. Like, this is so nice. It's literally like taking a shot of caffeine to me, but you know, maybe other people react differently. But I would have thought if you didn't ejaculate, that you would have felt that pent up stress and anger almost, but you found the opposite then. It was actually a way of retaining it where it was good for you.
This is the thing. This is something that girls will just never really understand. But because semen is so powerful, right? When guys release it, they go through this refractory period where they feel low, lethargic, they want to sleep. Most guys, it's just their normal state because they ejaculate every single day. They don't know the difference, right? But I challenge guys to go a few days without doing it, and they'll feel just incredible. Their energy will be up, their mind will be clearer, right? It's so very powerful, right? And so so when guys lose that substance from their body, they feel awful, right? But then when they ingest it back in, because all the, you know, the components in it, like I was talking about, the nerve growth factor, the spermidine, it gives you that energy back, right? And this has been known, I mean, not the ingesting it part, but the power behind it has been known, in Eastern cultures since ancient times. And that's why they limit the amount of times that they spill this sacred substance, right? And so it's different for girls. Girls are so lucky because they can have orgasms as much as they want, and they don't lose that energy, right? And because
absolutely,
they're not spilling that like seed of creation that has all those powerful components in it, right? And so so you guys are really lucky in that regard. But you know, guys, all you have to do is get over your childish fears and just start
eat your vegetables.
Exactly, right?
Your whites instead of your greens.
Exactly. So I don't want to my audience has a short attention span, so let's not keep this going too long. We said some awesome stuff. Tracy, like, thank you so much for being on the channel, and I'm sure people will love you. There'll definitely be some hate but I think
always,
but there'll mostly to me, but I think you being on here and promoting this and showing that I'm not the only one will help a lot of people. So I'm sure a lot of people want to follow you. Like, where can they follow you?
Just online, just Tracy Kiss. Just Google and I come up kind of everywhere.
Wow, popular. All right, cool. And her links will be in the description below too. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope to see some more response videos to this with kind of the new science that I laid out there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.